Okay, so today, as you all have probably seen, I just wanted to chat a little bit about finding joy in the journey. And so many of us are wives, moms, girlfriends, we're entrepreneurs, we are friends, we're sisters, we're daughters, whatever. We are busy and life can happen really quickly. And sometimes it can be very overwhelming. And so I think it's okay for us to come together and talk about um, how to keep our minds focused on enjoying the things that we're going through. I often can kind of fall into these seasons of going through the motions and not actually seeing the joy, or I can be very, very like driven and goal oriented that I don't enjoy my process. And I know Robin has even gut checked me before. Like sometimes I would mention like what my sales were or how many things I sold at a pop-up, and she'd be like, that's amazing. And I'd be like, oh yeah, I guess it is amazing. Like I forget to enjoy those little things and to celebrate those things. And so kind of in preparation for this, I didn't spend a ton of time putting my notes together perfectly. But I have listened to some speakers that I appreciate. And I just wanted to share a few things that I've learned, and that I definitely want to open it up to some of you guys too to share. But one thing that I like to do often, and I know some of you do this as well, is I like to think back. And so I encourage you to do this even right now. Let's think back to the day when you first decided or were even thinking about starting LuLaRoe. Can you even remember that? For some of you, it was like yesterday. And some of you, it was years ago. But you remember that when you were like thinking about doing this? How did you feel? What were your thoughts? Really think about these things. You don't have to do these right now, but really go back and think about those things. And even write down some of those notes so that you can come back to it. And then now think about what you felt like and how your emotions were the day you got your inventory. Like all the boxes showed up. Probably pretty amazing. Some of you may have been a little overwhelmed, but probably pretty excited before you thought about how you were going to sell those, right? It's fun. It was super fun. So then how about the day you did your first pop-up? Whether that was in home or online. Think about how you felt. How are you feeling today toward your business? Do you have those same feelings? Are you still as excited as you were as the day you decided to do LuLaRoe? Or the day you got your inventory? Because I know you guys are getting inventory, some of you, many times a week. Is it the same as it was the first day? If your answer is not really, then you're in good company, because I'm kind of the same way. And so often I do have to go back and get my mind to rethink about those things. I make myself go back and think about what I felt like when I did my first pop-ups, what I felt like when I first signed up, when I first got my inventory. And I have to remind myself of why I was excited to do this and what emotions came during those times. Okay, so that's kind of one challenge that I would recommend that you guys at least try. It's been really, really good for me. Sometimes when I'm doing a pop-up in home, I even have to like tell myself it's my first pop-up again, just to like make myself really excited, and all these clothes are brand new to everybody, and I just give myself a little pep talk that way. So I love to listen to like Tony Robbins. I listen to a lot of spiritual motivator people too. I like to listen to women who talk about organizing your life or living among chaos and different things like that. And some of the things that I've just put together that I think are important to talk about are joy killers, because there are many things that can totally kill your joy. And we know that, but I think we need to be really aware of it. And number one is FOMO, the fear of missing out. And that can be a major joy killer. It can be a major motivator too, but it kind of depends on your personality a little bit. But for me, it can be, I'm pretty driven by other people's success. So when you tell me, I've mentioned this before, when you tell me that Kim Roylance's team check was $380,000 last month, I am driven Like that motivates me. I feel like it gives me hope. Other people, that may crush them. And I think it's okay, but I think you need to be aware of what that does to you. Because we're not going to stop sharing those things on these calls, because I know that a lot of you are motivated that way. But I think you just need to be aware that it can be a joy killer. If you're on social media and you see somebody doing a pop-up and they sold a whole, I think I am recording, and they sold just a ton of items. You know, you're in their shopping group and you're seeing everybody, they're selling all this stuff, and all these people are commenting, oh, you're the best LuLaRoe consultant ever. We love you so much. And nobody's telling you that in your group. That's a little bit of FOMO. And it's okay to remove yourself from those groups. When you began LuLaRoe, you began because you had a strong why. You began because you knew that this business could do something for you. And we do need to revisit that. We need to rethink about that all the time, because if you jump in all these other groups and you're watching people do things on social media, you'll get your why and your vision and your goal confused. You'll lose your focus. You'll become obsessed with what they're doing, and you no longer are able to find that joy. And so you really have to be consistent with protecting your business, protecting your mind, protecting your joy. One thing that I learned a long time ago is to be really careful with the things that you watch, the things that you read, and the things that you're okay with, because those infiltrate your mind. So really be thinking about those. Your happiness is really important. It's important to you, to your family, to everybody. So make sure you're protecting that, and just being careful and knowing how good it feels when you're happy. Yeah, okay. Okay, the other thing that can be a really strong joy killer, and I can get caught in this, and Bethany and I have conversations about how, okay, this is what we're going to do with our money, and we're going to pay off this, and we're going to pay off this, and we're going to do this. That can also be a major joy killer. If you're doing this business just to pay the bills, that's not that exciting, guys. It may seem exciting for a few days, and you may be motivated by that, but you got to dig in a little bit deeper into your why. So if you're saying that you're doing this business to pay your bills or to pay off debt or whatever, imagine what it's like when all of your debt is paid off. So now you're debt-free, you owe money to no one. Now what's driving you to do this business? What is your real why? What do you really, really want? Because it has to be more than just paying your bills, because on day 20 of selling one item at each pop-up, that is not going to push you, and you are going to be sick of it. So make sure you're constantly revisiting that. I can't remember who I was chatting with. I think it was Rebecca, actually. And I think a good thing to think about too is we all need to know what gives us joy. We need to know. Some people may say, oh, this business gives me so much joy. Well, would you do it if you didn't get paid? If you were not making money from LuLaRoe, would you still do this business? I mean, really think about that. Does it give you that much joy? Sometimes it does for me. I wouldn't be doing it as much, I can tell you that. And that's okay, because this is a very good avenue to fulfill your dreams. But my husband just popped in. Thanks. You need to find something that does give you joy. It may not be this business every single day, but it's okay to find a hobby. It's okay to figure out, like, for me, I know I need quiet time. I also need time in nature. And if I don't get those things, I don't have joy. I was told one time that, I don't know the quote, but this is how I remember it. Something about, if you have not read a book in the past 3 days, you don't have anything to talk about. And so I really believe that if you're not fueling your mind correctly, you probably should be careful with even sharing things and opening your mouth, because our mouths can get us into a lot of trouble, and we got to make sure that we're fueling our bodies and our minds in a healthy way. Okay, I got sidetracked. Hold on here. Oh, I've done this before too. So sometimes, like I said, I can just go through the motions and forget to find joy in the little steps of my day. But one thing that really helps is I've carried around this little notebook, and I've done two things with this notebook. I've used it as a gratitude list. So and sometimes it's a chore to make myself do this. But like even to sit at the table with your family for dinner and kids are crabby, it's the end of the day, whatever. But write down in your gratitude list, I'm thankful that we have food on our table. I'm thankful that we have a table. I'm thankful, and keep doing that and do it until your mind starts to believe it. Because I know sometimes I feel foolish even writing those things down, but pretty soon you'll start to feel grateful and you will feel joy for the things that you have in your life. But sometimes we just have to remind ourselves of those things. I've also done a gifts journal. And what I did with that was anytime someone invited me over for dinner, or my parents gave me leftovers from dinner, or someone sent me a nice card or a sweet note or sent me a nice message, I called those gifts and I wrote those down and I kept track of that. And what you start to find is that as you keep track of those things, it's like our minds just become more open to all of the joy and all the goodness that is out there. Another part of that, well, I'll talk about that later. Okay, I'm jumping all around here, but another joy killer is trying to do it all right away. And if that is not true in this business, oh my goodness. Sometimes we can jump in and think on day one of starting the business that we are going to cruise qualify, and that may not be possible when you first start. You may not be able to, maybe you're working full time, you have a few kids, you're married, and you think you're going to be able to book in-home pop-up boutiques every single night of the week because so-and-so did. That might not be possible for you, and maybe not, I mean, not that it won't be someday, but it might not be in your first month, and that's okay. Just because somebody else did it doesn't mean that you have to do it. So, well, I need to be careful when I say these things. If you want to do those things, do those things. But do not kill yourself trying to do those things, and don't feel like you have to do certain things and then you pretty soon don't enjoy it. I think we just need to have permission to be okay with what our goals are, and again, just enjoy that process. I am a person of faith, and so this is something that I have to be reminded of. And I was listening to a speaker actually this morning, and I was reminded of this again. But so I'm a Christian, and in the Bible, Paul says, fruit of the Spirit is joy. So if I am not having joy, then, now I know this won't apply for all of you, then I can ask the Holy Spirit to remind me of what Jesus Christ did on the cross, and ask him to help me find joy every day, because that's something we have access to. We don't have to live joyless lives. No one says we have to live joyless lives. You can tell when you meet somebody, you can tell if they're full of joy. When you can see it in their face. All of you have seen someone do a pop-up boutique, and you know they're filled with joy. You've seen a customer come in who is full of joy. Are they not like so fun to hang around? That is the type of person. You don't have to be happy all the time. I'm not saying that. But figure out your joy. Figure out where it comes from, and work that into your business too. People love to be around those people. And it's okay to take some time. Like, I wrote down some things that I'm trying to work on, or some things that I know work. One of the biggest things that I know that brings me a lot of joy is to give. And not just like, it doesn't have to be LuLaRoe. It might be so-and-so down the street just had a baby and you're bringing them a meal. It's really fun to do those things, and not fun because you want them to think you're so amazing. It feels stinking good. And pretty soon when you start giving things like that, those things start to come back to you too. That will bring you joy. If you can create joy in somebody else's life, you will get joy. So think of different ways to help other people. It doesn't have to be LuLaRoe. Just think about other ways to bring some joy into someone else's life, and you will find joy as well. Another thing that I know helps me is exercise, and I do not do it as much as I'd like. but man, do I need it. And man, do I feel better once I do it. So if you're not somebody who has a lot of time, that's okay. There are a lot of 10-minute workouts that you can do at home, or maybe you're somebody who likes yoga or even deep breathing and meditation. Guys, those will change your day. And if you do those, well, you can figure out what time of the day you like to do those. I spend time figuring out how to maximize my time. I have set up my schedule so that for example, yesterday I had a great day. I had a really good day. I got a lot of stuff done. Early in the morning, I cleaned my office, and I was done working by done with what I wanted to get done, I think by 2. I went and picked up my kids, went to Costco. I came home and I did not have to do anything until later. I decided to do a live sale. So I spent that time with my kids, which is one thing that I feel guilty about a lot, is not spending a lot of time with them. So we did Easter eggs. I gave them some new books. We read some books and did some doodling things together. That brought me so much joy. I was so focused and ready for today. And it was so simple. It wasn't like I had to invest a bunch of money, but I did kind of have to schedule my day and make sure that I got my work done, that when I sat down, I was focusing so that later I could have that free time to enjoy. I am the type of person who often feels like I don't deserve to have free time unless I've worked really hard, which is a scary, scary thing to do to yourself. Don't set yourself up that way. I'm kind of weird. I will schedule free time. So I will schedule myself when I pick up the kids. I'm going to have X number of hours to do whatever I want, and I'm not scheduling anything in there. That brings joy to me because then I feel like I have the freedom to do whatever I feel like. Another thing, guys, if you're struggling to enjoy the journey, get help. Help makes a big difference. And that can be anything. I know many of you guys have someone who cleans your house. Maybe you need an assistant. Maybe you just need the kids to go somewhere for a day or two or whatever you need. But just really consider that. And then the other thing, I was just sharing with Robin that I had went with some friends from high school to a concert. We left on Friday, came back on Saturday. My goal was to be totally checked out of work and really of everything. And I did. I totally checked out. So when you do decide to take a break, I need breaks. I need to be rejuvenated, and I need to not think about work. It isn't hard for me to do that. I love work. I'm very driven. I'm very motivated, but it's not hard for me to check out. But you got to make sure when you check out that you fully check out. That means not checking your message, checking comments, telling somebody, okay, yep, I'm going to ship that on Monday. Like, check out fully so that when you come back, you're recharged. I also love traveling, and so I set up my goals so that I can take vacations. And I need vacations because I need that intimate time with my family, and I also need it to be recharged. I need to relax, to not think, and that recharges me in order to come back and set another goal for another vacation. So that is really all I have to share. I know that was a lot in a really short amount of time, but I would love to hear from you guys. If you are somebody, if you feel like you know how to turn on the little joy switch in your brain, or some things you found in the middle of invoicing and shipping and packaging that brings you joy, or reminders even that you tell yourself, please share those with us. I will also mention that sometimes I think it was Rebecca. Yeah, she sent me a picture of just her and her husband sitting on the living room floor shipping on a Saturday morning. And I started bawling because I was like, do you realize you guys get to be home together, work a business, sitting on the floor in your living room? Like, that is so amazing. And she was really touched by that too, because this business is pretty stinking amazing. And we just need reminders sometimes, right? Okay, I'll stop. You guys share with me, and I'm going to look at my chat here. I'm losing my voice, so I apologize. Well, I hope I was recording. I think so. Anybody have anything that they can share? One time we bought a convertible because I knew I needed joy in my life. That's how impulsive I am, guys. It was a yellow convertible too. It was super fun. We like drove that thing around and it definitely brought joy. But anyway. Anybody? Anybody? Okay, guys. Nobody wants to share today. Oh, Ayla, I'm so glad. Thank you for sharing that. All right, I'm going to stop the recording.